Okay, so the next topic we want to talk about is something that I don't think has ever been done, or at least not in the time that I've been in Europe. I haven't ever seen it, but putting together a Europe all-star game, like an American football all-star game. I mean, the company I work for, the Podium, we had very solid plans to do it in 2020, and COVID derailed those. And this year, we're not, again, with the new ELF and COVID still kind of lingering, we aren't able to do it. But I think in the future, it's something that has to be done. I know Europe isn't really a league, so it's slightly difficult to do that because everybody plays at different times, different federations and things like that. But I think that's what the people want. What do you think? I think that's what the people want. I think everybody wants to see that game.
I think people don't know the potential that the sport has. They think that people just go out and just want to hit people. But if they see that, oh, wait, like when I told somebody that we got, one of the best players in Serbia, they were like, what you mean best player in Serbia? I'm like of all of Serbia, the best player. And they're just like, oh, that's cool. Like, I wish I got to see them more. Well, if we have one game where you got these best players from all these countries, then everybody's going to be like, oh, wait, what? Like, I know, dude. Like, oh, yeah. Like, and everybody can tune in from every country, like, and then it's good for all aspects of it. For the players, we get to compete the way we want to compete. For the people watching, friends, family, and the people who don't know, they're like, oh, so this is the sport. This is like elite. Like, this is like some of the best players. This is what the best it could be. This is what it looked like. Oh, I'm about to watch this all the time. People who want to sponsor and advertise. You got people watching online from all different types of countries, and the people that's at the game, like they're going to have a chance to find new ways to reinvent their brand and their company. And maybe they only make hats, but now they want to make hats only for the game, whatever the game wants to be called. Insurance company, they got a whole Allstate Bowl. Like, don't nobody know what, what I'm saying? Like, they just know it's the Allstate Bowl. It's like, that's an insurance company. For what? Cars. Ain't no cars being driven on this football. I know. That's the point.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of potential. I think just listening to you talk about like, oh, people could see people they know from their country and stuff. Personally, I've always thought, like all-star games, Pro Bowls, national team type stuff is you can't really get the best players. That's how I feel about it. And my feelings haven't changed. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. American football is not a sport where national teams need to be made or that there needs to be a national team like system. The European qualifiers and stuff is a waste of time because American football is a chemistry sport more than any other sport. So when you force people to do a limited amount of practicing and it's not their actual team that they get to practice with year round, like most teams do, you get a lesser than quality product. Even if you have better players, the chemistry is usually going to be the difference. And if it doesn't work for the Pro Bowl, it doesn't work for anybody. But that's my football sports opinion on it. But when it comes to this European All-Star game, I think more in terms of what you said of the exposure for the sport. Like, instead of, just having your national teams play against each other, which eliminates imports, which that don't make any sense as well. And also it generalizes everybody. But like you said, if there's one guy from Serbia on the team, like that's going to highlight him for Serbia. That's going to make people from Serbia band together and say, hey, we want to see him do good or his team win. And there goes your increased exposure. Now, if I had the Serbian team playing against, the Italian team, well, that's only two countries. And it's like, maybe we watch it. But if I have all these different countries, all these people from different countries playing against each other, then everyone is involved. Everyone has to be involved. Everyone has to support somebody. As a local federation, if you get 5 players in this game, you can support them. You can pay for their travel. You can get their gear, make sure they're repping whoever the league's main sponsor is at that game. Like, you can do that. It's only 5 players. It's not a whole team.
And for those selfish teams, also, you get a dude from Carlstad Crusaders that goes in the game. It's like, oh, we know you're going to the game. Like, can you make sure, like, we'll give you some Crusader gear to wear, to the game. Everybody's rocking their team gear to the game because it's that all-star type of game.
Yeah.
Like everybody's still repping where they come from, not just the country, but also the team. And that's like, oh, I live in that city. I didn't know we had a football team here.
I mean, but obviously you got to, stream the game. And when the players are announced, have it on the bottom of the screen. He plays for Carlstad in Sweden, and have an announcer, probably Perfect Pervis or somebody talking about the player and where he's been and his background and what do you expect to see from him today. And then boom, an ad flies in on the TV real quick, about 15 seconds. State Farm, get your insurance, Geico, whatever. Stadium, buy your apparel. I don't care who it is. There's opportunity there. And I mean, I hate to be this type of guy, but there's money to be made as well. There's ways to make this a financially stable event and something that can be done. One idea I have, because I like to get crazy with it also, is I think that, it's one of those situations where you have to allow imports. And what I would do to make it even more nationalistic, as I see going on a lot in Europe, is there's a lot of nationalism going on, is I would have the imports represent a European country as well. I would have the imports, like if they're playing in a certain country, or if they want to get selected, they have to be selected from, American imports in Germany or American imports in Finland. Therefore, they're gonna be representing America, but they're gonna represent their club team, which is in whatever country they're playing for as well. So, Darius Lewis, you're gonna be out there as, an American / Carlstad / Sweden, because that's who you recently played for. So that way the Europeans are still invested. There's people that might not know who you are, but they're like, oh, he's a Sweden guy. He's American, but he's a Sweden guy. I'm going for him. I'm going for number 6 out there. I'm going to follow him and see what he does in the game, because he's, putting on for Sweden. And that's how you do it. I think that there's ways to make that something that would be huge in Europe. Obviously, I'm not the guy to do it. If someone ever decides to do it, you're listening, watching the podcast, I am available for in-game commentary, post-game interviews, stuff like that. We can do that. We can knock it out.
But this is the thing I keep bringing up. And the only reason why I bring it up is because I was king excuse when I was growing up. Like it takes one to know one. Like I know people making excuses because I made excuses half my life why I couldn't do stuff. And they were generally good, logical things why I couldn't. But I spent too much time finding a reason to explain why I couldn't do it instead of finding the words to find a way to get it done. Yeah. So if everybody wants to sit around and make excuses about why this won't work or why they can't make money, there's other people that's trying to be like, you know what, at the same time, like I have an idea for this. I have an idea for that. And the less people want to make excuses about it, and unless we want to make excuses about why things can't or nobody's going to watch. Everybody wants to watch the soccer. You don't know what they want to do that weekend. Nope. Maybe they want to have both on 2 screens. Like nowadays with the average person has like 2 or 3 TVs in their house. You don't think they got one on the computer, one on this screen and one on this screen, or you go into a restaurant, you go to any like bar, they have at least 2 things showing at once. Like
the thing is, you can make it all work. Just speaking on personal experience, a few years ago, I was actually in Sweden for the championship game in the Super Series, where they had the women's championship and the men's championship in that huge stadium in Stockholm. And after the first game, they took a break because there was an international or European soccer match that Sweden was in. So like in between the games, like the people I was with, we go into like the city and the streets are flooded with people watching the game, kicking soccer balls. So we are able to watch the whole game. And actually at the stadium, they put the game on the big screen. So people like watch the game. And then when the game was over, we watched some more American football. Like it worked out. Like it was like, oh, how are you going to play this game when there's this huge thing going on at the same time? Well, they did. And if you can do something like that, it's got to be possible to put together this European all-star game where everybody can benefit. Everybody can, win. The people that need to be, compensated can be compensated, and everyone can grow together through this sport. We can create that, national pride that people are hoping to get from national team games that they aren't. Because I'll tell you, nobody cares about national teams.
The first excuse they're going to make is who paying the players. and who paying for their flight and who's paying for their hotel. That's the first three things, and who paying for their transportation to the game. That's the first thing people want to say, and they're like, it can't work because don't nobody got money for that. And that's going to be the first excuse. Rather than trying to find solutions, even if the solutions don't work out, oh, well, maybe the players could pay on their own. That's unlikely, but it's still likely. It's still an option.
Here's my rebuttal to that. Depending on the cost, maybe the players can't. You'd have to look into that and see that. Even with the national teams, there's some of these national teams that players have to pay. Here in Finland, the players have to pay to play on the national team. They have to get selected and then pay to play on a national team. In other countries like France, the government actually gives their national team a certain amount of funds to use for national team events. So everybody doesn't always have the same rules either. So there's ways to get here and there and make it work for everybody, but also we have to all be on the same accord. There has to be one goal, one purpose, and that's to make the game happen. And I'm telling you right now, I will put a discount on my Perfect Pervis services and commentate that thing, okay? I'll get on a train or a bus or something and drive a couple days. And it might take me a week to get there, but I'll get there. I'll be out there interviewing with whoever y'all want me to do, So I'm in. Somebody else has got to join on with me. I'm in there.
One thing big in our generation, this generation, is the people who are missing the domino effect of their decisions. So where I'm sitting here saying that I could pay for, my flight, I could pay for my transportation and my hotel. They're gonna be like, yeah, but you also got to take a week off of work. And I'm like, all right, I take a week off of work. They're like, yeah, but you got to lose money every day you're not there at work. And I'm saying, all right, well, where you see me losing money, I'm seeing myself in 6 months. Those people who were sponsoring the game now want my face to be a part of a commercial they got in their country for the next game coming up next year. And they want me to be in this, and they want me to do a photo shoot and do this and that. There's a domino effect to your actions. But if you want to be stuck here, that's what I don't like about, what's going on in the world today, is that people are not seeing a bigger picture. They want to be stuck here and then move on, and then be here and move on. And I'm just like, I feel like this element is getting lost, and I don't want to lose it. And I'm trying to do everything I can to hold on to this and then get it revolving in the community again. Community as in like everybody as a whole.
I mean, I feel like we can talk about this all day, but I feel like an all-star game is something that I think Europe would actually accept and be okay with. But I do think it's going to take more cooperation than what we have so far.
If they could do ELF, they could do this all-star game. They came together for that.
I'm not going to speak on that on this episode because there's some things we could talk about. But yeah, so the conclusion is Europe All-Star Game. Let's make it happen. We're recording this in 2021, so I'll put a timeline on it. 2022. Let's make it happen. Somebody start a Facebook group or a Reddit thread.
Fall 2022.
Yeah, fall 2022. Let's have it happen. Sometime after the German season's over, right before everybody gets cold out here in Finland. Let's do it.
Thanksgiving Bowl for American football. Thanksgiving ain't really a holiday in Europe, so.
I mean, that would be a good time to do it. A Thanksgiving All-Star game. All right, let's make it happen, Europe. If you're listening, you're watching, hit me up. I think my Instagram and Twitter handle is @PerfectPervis, or you can email me, perfectpervis@gmail.com. Hit me with your ideas, and we'll try to connect and make it happen, man. Let's do it.
Like, I'll start saving money now for it. I got like 15 months to prepare for sure. I got it.
K Noah Streetwear is inspired by the everyday needs of their athletes. All K Noah Streetwear is crafted from the finest premium quality fabrics that meet K Noah's high standards, the same standards that you will find in their game uniforms. Gear up and get yourself a hoodie, tee, polo, or cap. Find the streetwear collection on the K Noah website today. All right, that's it for us today on The Scoop. Keeping the locker room talk real as always. I want to thank our guest, Darius Lewis, for taking the time to kick it with us today. We wish you the best in not just sports, obviously, but whatever you plan to do in your career. You told us some great news about your next move, and we support you 100%, man. Jamal, anything you got for him?
Man, I appreciate you coming on. It's always good to have these talks every week. And, the conversation that we had today, man, they just keep getting better and better, more in depth. And, you definitely brought some knowledge. And we definitely appreciate that because obviously, we just want to use this platform to just, have open dialogue. And again, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah. So, and for everybody watching, if there's anything I want to pass on, is have a purpose. Don't think of the small picture. Think of the big picture. Don't think about this one play. Think about the whole season. And, for those of you thinking bigger than that, don't think about the season. Think about a legacy. Not your legacy, but the legacy that you're a part of and the legacy that you can contribute to.
That's profound words. Guys, if you're watching or listening, thanks for watching or listening to the show. It's on YouTube. It's also on podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the Athletes Forum YouTube channel or American Football in Finland's podcast to catch the scoop every week in either video or audio format. We might even be doing it twice a week coming forward. We'll let you know. That's all coming up. You can follow us on Twitter at The Scoop AF, on Instagram at Athletes Forum, and on Facebook at Athletes Forum. And also by following us on all these channels, you'll have a chance to win Teamwear swag provided by our sponsor, K Noah. But be sure to follow the instructions in the description below. And that's it for us this time, and we'll see you next week.